I'm Jocelyn Roper, and I'm here with Kelly Richey. And we're just going to get to know her a little bit. She's a musician that, from what I've read, you grew up in Lexington, Kentucky, right? And
back in my hometown.
That's a nice.
Yeah.
It's a nice.
It is. You know, it's grown. It's changed.
How long has it been since you've been back?
Well, I left in the late 80s, and I came back for a little while in the early 90s, and then I moved to Cincinnati in 97. So,
And that's where you're at now, right?
I'll come back and like do a radio interview or something. Last time I went to WUKY, I couldn't find it because, I mean, everything had, you know.
Right.
Really, yeah.
Yeah.
The streets weren't there anymore. It was crazy. But yeah.
So you started playing around 15? Did I read that correctly?
I got a guitar when I was 15 and grew up playing piano.
Oh.
And yeah, had a set of drums from a next door neighbor. Actually, I used to play drums in the basement, and they said, "Why don't you take the drums home? You can have them. You can borrow them." And my dad said, "If you get rid of the drums, I'll buy anything you want." And so he worked at Sears. I got a Sears guitar for Christmas when I was 15, and I went through 3 of them in 3 months.
Nice.
And so they got me a decent one to start with, and guitar lessons.
And you kind of, at first, taught yourself, correct?
I always had lessons, actually. I took from a guy here in Lexington named Eddie Beckley.
Okay.
He was fabulous. I mean, he was just, first thing he said to me, though, on my first lessons, girls can't play guitar.
And you said,
I said, oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to show you
But he knew that I really wanted to.
Right.
And he knew that if I was going to, that I would have to be twice as good to get, you know.
Right. And then for anybody to respect you. Or
to compete in the man's world, which still is a man's world in many respects. It's changed.
Does it feel like it is that way in the music industry?
Well, it's a small world. Every microcosm, and you know, part of every industry is its own little microcosm.
Right.
And there is a good old boys network, and there's females infiltrating that.
Right.
You know, but by and large, you know, even I have stereotypes. You know,
We all
I have to see things to believe it too.
Right.
You know, so I don't think that that's a bad thing.
No.
You know, I think that if anybody wants to do it, do it. Be true to yourself.
Right.
And time will tell. You know.
And I read that you also give lessons now, right? And you gave lessons to Renata.
I did.
She told me.
Yes, she took lessons from me. I started teaching where I started taking lessons. Actually, where I started taking lessons was Lansdowne Country Club. He was in the basement. But then he went to Fred Moore Music in Chevy Chase, and that's kind of where I grew up, taking lessons. Then I gave lessons before I joined a band called Steel and Horses, which they were on Arista Records.
Oh, nice.
And they got signed, and we were based out of Nashville for about, I was with them 2.5 out of 4 years. That's what took me to Nashville, and then I came back to Lexington and put my own band together in the early 90s.
Now, is that the band you're with now?
Yeah, it's the Kelly Richey band. So where I go, there I am.
Yeah.
And
you don't have to change the name.
Exactly.
Obviously, as long as you're in the band, that's the name.
Exactly. So I've been touring, I started my own band then, and then I started touring nationally in 97 with the release of my 4th CD.
You're around 20 years.
25? Well, I've been touring since the late, since 86. Yeah.
You look phenomenal.
Thank you.
Yeah, because I'm like doing the math in my head. And I'm like, there's no way that you've been touring that long.
Well, I've driven over 1 million miles. I've done over 4,000 shows.
And now, do you still try to do lessons in between?
I do. I just launched an online guitar instruction website. There's 250 instructional videos that I shot. About 150 of them I shot myself in preparation for 2 series that were done by TrueFire. And TrueFire.com is one of the oldest online for guitar instruction. They started with cassette tapes and sheet music, and then went to VHS tapes and tablature, and now they're one of the largest online companies internationally. They have like Robin Ford, Dweezil Zappa, everybody. And they did a series on me, which I was really honored. They did 2. One came out this past March, and then a year previous to that, had another one. So they're a wonderful company. They own and I own, we both joint own that together. So I have those in my classroom as well. And my classroom supports me teaching Skype students all over the world, people that want that interaction. TrueFire is a video exchange. So people that are like, you know, in Korea, South, you know, Australia, you know, people that are truly out of different time zone, or that have difficult schedules, you know, like maybe they work night shift or something.
So do they can do like a video and send it to you, and then you can critique them?
Yeah, and then I send them a video back,
Very
and I've
neat.
got all my videos up for them to, you know, follow up and everything. So I'm as passionate about teaching as I am about playing.
I mean, you just have a short bio that I read, but I can get that from, which is why I brought up the teaching, because I was like, I can tell that she's loved. I mean, obviously, that you're juggling, doing all this touring and still teaching shows, that you love both aspects of it, because most
I really
people
do.
would give up one to do the other.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of crazy like that. And
Crazy's good.
Yeah, it is. It is. It served me well. In 2010, I came off the road for a year and got really healthy. Got sober and just really focused on my health and gave myself the opportunity to step away from music for a minute and decide if I wanted to continue. And if so, how can I do that in a healthy way?
Because do you feel that it is kind of hard, and it's kind of
It's
very
very hard.
It's very easy to fall
Very
into unhealthy habits in the
It is.
music industry.
Absolutely.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
it is. But, you know, in any industry.
No, right. Very
Even
true.
just,
Especially if
you know,
you're
just in life. Yeah.
going a lot. Like
Yeah.
if you're fast paced, you feel like you need things for the energy.
Exactly.
And,
You know, and the road's hard, and it's painful, and it's lonely, and it's fun.
Right.
You know, it's
And you wanna get in
feast
the
or
fun,
famine.
yeah,
You know,
yeah.
but I just found, you know, I struggled a lot from high school on. I was dyslexic, so school was never easy. So as a wounded student, that's why I love teaching so much. I love seeing people, you know, let those lights go off.
Yeah.
I don't care if you have any arms or any legs. If you want to learn how to play, I'm in.
Yeah, we'll
You know,
figure it out.
yeah.
Yeah.
But in 2008, I started really getting burned out and wanted to figure out ways to work outside of just being on the road constantly. And I started getting certifications as a life coach. And after a couple of years, I realized that I was really trying to get healthy myself.
Right.
That's when I decided to go off the regimen and get healthy, and then reapproach it and continue to get certifications, but mainly as personal growth.
Right.
I do some coaching and starting to do a little bit more. And this last month I started a 3-year program in Columbus to become a spiritual director, and that's a real intensive struggle. I was raised in church, really liked that, and this is just it's not religion,
Right.
but it is contemplative, you know, study and.
So even through everything that you've accomplished and grown, you're just striving, which is what's so cool about it, because the magazine to me means showing women that no matter what age, what you've been through, or whatever in life, you can always achieve to do better and be better. And that's like constant.
Yeah.
That's what you're exactly
Yeah.
saying. Like you're just
Yeah.
constantly.
You know, it's hard, and we're all wired the way that we are.
Right.
You know, and we all have the support network that we have. And I think one of the most important things to do is to choose a wise support network.
Right.
And that's different. And I think being on the road in bands, working in bars and festivals, fast-paced life, is difficult.
And it's difficult to get a network because you can't take them with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is the great thing about technology, because we have this online magazine that we're launching where if you know, this is your network. We're trying to make a network for women where we can uplift
Yes.
each other. And now, luckily, with technology, you can have it anywhere you go.
Exactly.
You can reach out and
Yeah.
say, like, hey, I'm lonely, I'm having a bad day, or whatever, and somebody's going to be right there.
Yeah, I can text anybody, I can call anybody,
Right.
anywhere in the world.
Right.
For free.
Right.
And I do. You know, I've got a good support network. But I also can write and record. I can record on my cell phone.
And that's, yeah. So now, what kind of music inspired you, like, growing up? Like, were you always, like, from little, like, just loved music?
I was raised in the church. My mom played piano. It was Baptist church. My aunt played the organ. And our church, my uncle was a preacher. Our church was the first church to integrate. And in 68, 69, it was burned to the ground. And so being part of the preacher's family and the kind of the center of the music, the African American community joined with us often in revivals. And I quickly saw the difference between black gospel and white gospel. And it impacted me a lot. And I grew up in a house with like Engelbert Humperdinck and Lori Clark and Tom Jones saved my life.
Well, there you go.
But when I started, when I got a guitar, I didn't even know who Jimi Hendrix was.
Oh.
Yeah. And
but he was still known of when he was.
absolutely.
Yeah, he was huge.
Everybody
when he got the guitar. Yeah.
Jimi Hendrix was.
Right.
But ironically, when I was 8 years old, my grandmother died. We had to sell their house. My grandfather was still living and not well. So at our house, we bought a new house. And when we moved in, the house was empty. They're empty when you move into the house.
Right.
But there was this one.
Usually.
There was this one fuzzy black-white poster leaning up against the wall. And I thought, oh, that's cool. The glow of the dark. And it had this crazy-looking guy with his arm up in the air that said, "See you in the next world. Don't be late." I didn't realize it was Jimi Hendrix. And I still have that in my studio. I've kept that all these years.
Whoa.
Since I was 8.
Wow.
Yeah, there's been a lot of profound things. Are they coincidence? Maybe. I don't think so.
Right.
I'm here. I'm alive. I'm healthy. I don't think that it's about coincidence.
No, I don't either at all.
Yeah. So, that was my kind of young history. And then I graduated high school, which was really good. It was. Everyone... They were going to let me graduate just to let me move on at that time.
We all have our own little black sheepness in the family, right?
Yeah,
like everybody's like they made it. So that's,
But
cheering those things.
when I graduated with about a 4th grade reading level.
Oh, wow.
And it's been as an adult that I've really learned to read. And I'm an avid learner. I've checked out every book on tape, When I first moved to Cincinnati, I was literally checked out like 8 DVDs at a time, and I'd go through the drive-in window, and sometimes I go twice a week. I can't get enough, and I enjoy learning. And I study a lot, and I spend all my time doing that, teaching, coaching, writing, doing records.
Playing. You don't have a dull moment in your life.
I don't. I love to work. I love what I do. I love to work.
And isn't that a great feeling that you get to do what you love?
It is. When I came off the road in 2010, my area was like, "Oh, you're so lucky to live your dream." Then it became a nightmare. I was burning out, and I wasn't happy in that thing that I once loved so much. And so I had to get it together, and I had to reapproach things if I was going to do it. And it's hard. Sometimes it's easy to like, "Oh God, life's hard." Yeah. It is. It's not always hard.
No.
And it's not always easy, and you're never going to get somewhere where it's going to be easy. It doesn't exist.
No.
It's not how it works.
And people that think, "Oh, I'm so young, this person's life looks so easy," they're going through whatever battles you don't know.
Exactly. You never know what somebody's going through.
Never know. Yeah.
I think that socially in our world today, music should have more of a place.
I agree.
The arts should have more of a place. And historically, when music and arts start really failing to be recognized and failing to be supported, the society is not far behind.
I agree 100%. I feel like so much can be shared and felt and just brought through music. It's 100%. And it's in any art. But I mean, music is, I can.
Way to go! Way to get in the interview.
I can express my feelings through music. I can express, me and my children can actually have sharing time through music. There's so much that you can
There's a commonality, There's a lot of people that will listen to my music. It's like, man, I can't stand that kind of music, but I like you. Because it's authentic.
So what would you tell people if they were like, what kind of music does Kelly Richey play?
I call it blues rock, but it's got a real funk edge. It's got a real...
Yeah, we heard you. It was great.
I love to get funky on the guitar.
You can do some amazing things on that guitar.
Thank
you were doing some riffs, and then we were talking, and I would stop mid-sentence and be like, did you hear that? Like what she's doing right now? That's amazing. Would you have advice for, like, young girls wanting to aspire to be...
We are female, and I'm not going to beat a guy in arm wrestling. It's just not going to happen.
Right.
Even a guy that's probably not that strong, because I'm pretty strong for a girl. There's hand exercise. I love working with females because there's hand exercises. There's, exercises for the arms that help. You have to learn to leverage your body. If you think about any guitar player that's like bending it out, they always make this terrible face. You have to. It's like if you're going to hit a softball, you don't just woo and it'd be a home run. I mean, you've really got to leverage your body. So I think as females, you really need to dive in. The guitar is physically challenging. It hurts. My fingers have bled. I mean, piano is challenging to play well, but it's not going to hurt you.
Right.
You know. Actually, you can get hurt over time.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
yeah. But like not in the moment.
Not in the moment. It's not going to make your fingers bleed.
Right.
You know, so there is a learning curve, and I wouldn't have learned without a teacher. Some people, you know, I've had some students, like there's 1 percentile that'll come to me and they want to steal from me what I've got. That's what I do. Take everything you can and do it the way you can. But that's 1 percentile that just kind of, you know, hit the ground and they're playing. Most people really have to work hard at it. You know, I had a minimal amount of talent that I worked really hard to develop.
Did you ever feel like giving up? Like,
no.
That's awesome.
Well, what else was I going to do? I wasn't going to go to college at the time. I wasn't going to work in a corporate job. I was fired from every job I ever had. You know, so I had to.
I have to make this work. This is
I
I
even got fired from the band I was in. I had to put my own band together. You know, I mean, it's taken a lot of therapy. You know, it has taken a lot of therapy.
And do you feel like you put a lot, like as music part of your therapy, do you put a lot of your feelings into your writing?
Absolutely. I put everything I've got. I leave blood on the stage, put everything I've got. I'm honest. It's taken me about half my career to really kind of develop as a songwriter. And that was one of my greatest passions. And this last year, I became certified as a writing facilitator for Women Writing for Change, which for me is the single biggest accomplishment that I've ever achieved. Because to end up, and I'm the only person there with dyslexia that, you know, doesn't read, you know, literally, eyes to paper, that well. And so I do it my way. You know, it's just like, hey, we'll get, you know, I love to write.
So basically anybody that has any kind of challenge,
there's a way around it. There's a way over it. But you have to learn to advocate for yourself. You know, chances are no one's going to care. Chances are, if you are persistent, you'll find someone that does. Chances are, they will be happy to help, and then your job is to pay it forward.
Right.
Because that's how things work. You know, an organization like this, giving women a voice, that's huge. You know, and one thing that I liked about Women Writing for Change, this will sound silly, but there was a men's bathroom there. You know, they didn't exclude, you know, and I think it's important.
And that's what we want to have in our magazine. We're going to feature, you know, different, like a man of the month.
Yeah, because we have to work together. Because if we want it to not be a boys' club, then
you can't just have nothing to do.
It's like in politics, you've got to reach across the aisle. Things only happen in the middle.
Right.
And we need good, healthy debate on both sides.
Oh, yes.
You know, and society is a strange place.
It is. It
It's
really
much
is.
stranger than fiction.
Right.
But it's possible.
Well, that's why you've got more people watching truth instead of fiction.
Yeah.
Because it's more entertaining.
Yeah.
You know, they would much rather watch the trials and tribulations of somebody's real life than what you put on.
I haven't seen a TV show in maybe a decade, at least. I have cable because it's cheaper to have cable than it is to have it and the phone turned off. My phone's in the closet. My cable just sits there, you know. But I just kind of, TV freaks me out. Every now and then I used to be an avid political junkie.
Yeah, I don't watch the news at all. They're not allowed to have it on in my house.
Yeah, I used to enjoy monitoring every news source on Sunday mornings. That was like my thing to do. But it's insulting.
Yeah, and it's depressing, and I just don't want it.
But community is where things change. You know, building communities. I was listening, there's a wonderful podcast on Being with Krista Tippett, and she was interviewing Parker Palmer, and he's a Quaker, and he is a writer on education. He is in his mid-70s now, and he was talking about the importance of community and what it's like. The most recent one was on being a rebel. What does that mean? And it's not sustainable. To be a true rebel is to just walk your walk and talk your talk and build community and be present.
Right.
You know, and it's an inside and outside job. You know, and I think we need to find ways to support that in each other.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's what I say all the time. Like instead of the minute you walk up to somebody sizing them up, I think that's the key thing that most people do. You know, you walk into different people and you're looking around.
I know.
You're instantly like put your guard up instead of like reach out.
Yeah.
And if we could change society where we could walk in and hug. I love people that hug when you first walk in, even if they don't know you, because I'm like, they're not. They've got it. They got it figured out.
You know, people will look at me and think I'm a certain way. You know, I'm as liberal as I am conservative.
Right.
But when I did the Women Running for a Change, there were 11 people plus 2 facilitators. And when I sat around the first circle, I thought, I sized everybody up in that room.
Instantly.
I was wrong, dead wrong about every one of them. And 2 of them are preachers' wives. And we've become the best friends. And I was hanging out with them the other day. Who knew?
If you didn't take the time to get to know them, you would have
vice
gone with
versa.
your initial thought of what you thought of
And
them.
can I cuss?
Yeah.
Okay. But you know, I have my favorite T-shirt was "Unfuck the World."
Oh yeah.
And so I went into a writers group, and I knew everybody very well, and I knew that this one lady was a preacher's wife, and she was very quiet, you know. And I hadn't really gotten to know her that well. Anyway, I come slide into the circle just in time, you know. I'm sitting there and collecting myself, and we started to pass the candle around, and all of a sudden she looked up, she saw my shirt, and was like. You know, she's like, I love that shirt. And I'm like, who knew?
Yeah, you were like, I would have thought you of all people would be like offended by my shirt.
And so my shirt ended up being famous in that little group. And I was more than welcome to wear it.
And you could have just marketed it, and everybody wanted their own like copy of the shirt.
Yeah, exactly. So, you know, I mean, we don't know. I don't want people sizing me up.
No.
You know, and I mean, we owe it to ourselves to show up, and we owe it to other people to give them the respect to see who it is that they are. It's hard.
It is.
You know, like in a political climate today, you know, I tend to want to engage with people and have a conversation. Mm-hmm. And I think that those conversations need to be tailored to the environment. You know, and those things are important.
They really are. You don't want to instantly offend somebody like right off the bat. You're always.
Or maybe you do.
Maybe. But it is hard. I've even found, you know, even since I've always tried to be a person that gets along with everybody. It's one of my flaws and it's one of my attributes is how I say it, because I do care too much that people like me. So I try to be whatever. So since we've started talking about this more and I'm become a part of this project, I have caught myself doing the sizing up, and I'm like, don't do that. You know, so at least it's element some, but I still do it. And I'll walk in, or a woman will walk by, and I'll be like, oh, I bet she's this, or, you know, I bet she's that. And I'm like, why am I doing that? And in my head, I'm having this conversation, like, Jocelyn, why are you judging that woman?
You know, we're all different personality types. Like, I wish people liked me, but I don't care.
Yeah, I've gotten to that.
Yeah, because
I finally have gotten to that.
Not everybody's going to like me.
No. Do we need to wrap it up?
All right.
Sorry. Well, obviously, Kelly and I should not do interviews together because I talk a lot as well.
Yeah.
But I love getting to know this one. So.
Anything we should say that we haven't?
No, I think we covered probably more than we need.
Okay, cool. Well, I guess y'all can edit.
Yeah, or not. We'll probably put it right on there like that. We put our bloopers on there. We want this to be as real as it is.
Cool.
So.
Cool.
I'm Jocelyn Roper. I have had a fantastic time getting to know Kelly Richey here.
Thank you, likewise.
And I am at a loss for words at how amazing this was. So I guess amazed. I'm amazed.
Oh, cool. I'm inspired. I'm very happy and thankful for what you all are doing. Thank you for having me interview
Thank
today.
you so much for meeting with us.
Absolutely.
And you have a new fan base.
Oh,
because I'd love to see a live show of yours. Like I saw that, but I mean, I'd love to see your.
Normally I play in a 3-piece band, but I'm doing more and more.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
to balance.
Well, we'll be following.
Okay.